I wonder if that one is. Hi.
You're an instructor?
Yes, I am.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Just checking on the course material that I did not pick up that should have been available on Monday. No?
Don't listen to Miguel.
Okay.
Laverne, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. And yourself?
Great, I'm fantastic. Can you see me okay? Am I blurry?
No, I can see you just fine.
Okay, awesome. All right. So since you're on there, I'm gonna sit down. Let's see, let me just get on here. 6, 8, 9, 6, E, S, E, S, right? Okay, that did not work, or maybe it did. Oops, even kind of a problem. No problem, you're fine. Let me just see if I'm really connected to the internet or not. It doesn't look as though I am. Oh, the internet is like super slow here.
Mine is working. Let me double check. Yeah, mine's working.
Oh, I'm on now. I see it on there. Okay. Not that I need a computer because we're just going to talk today. So let me start by, I guess we're gonna start now, and then as other people join, they can just trickle in whenever they want to. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Reno Miller, and I'm the instructor for Introduction to Cryptocurrencies. A little bit about my background. I did my undergrad in accounting. So my undergrad, the majority of my professional experience is in the accounting stream. Good evening. Come right in. Hi, good, thanks. The majority of my professional experience is in the accounting accounting background. I'm a graduate of the Chartered Banker MBA, which is the world-renowned chartered banker status, along with an MBA that is offered in conjunction here with BIS. So I graduated in 2019 from that program. So I would encourage anyone to, if you're looking to, further your skill sets, to consider exploring that program as an option. Bangor also just recently launched a MBA in financial crimes, which I think is quite timely, considering everything that's going on with crypto and some other players who shall remain nameless. And yeah, so I'm going to be your instructor for the next 6 weeks, and we're going to have a very interesting time exploring the world of cryptocurrency. So I'm going to allow everyone to introduce themselves, and then I want us to talk about what your concept of crypto is and what you expect to gain from this course. Okay, because I think that's important, because I want to be able, since this class is so small, I want to be able to make sure that we meet everybody's needs. So Laverne, if you would like to start, just a quick intro, and then tell us what you hope to garner from this course.
everyone. My name is Laverne Bassett, and I am a System Administrator 3 from the Financial Services Commission in Providencia, Turks and Caicos. And I don't know too much about cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And that is my reason for taking this class. I do know that it's digital currency and it's being used all around the world.
Okay.
So yeah, I hope to learn more.
Okay, sounds good. You're up next.
Anything to carry? I know absolutely nothing about cryptocurrency. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's becoming the trend.
Yes.
FTX has it all in the news.
Yes.
Along with some other
entities. Yes.
That's been happening. And at the IIA seminar, the second day seminar last year.
Okay.
I do not remember the gentleman's name, but he's Oriental. He assisted Bahamian Oriental.
Oh, probably is that Bobby Chen, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
With the sand dollar.
Okay. Yes, he works at Deltec now.
They had a panel discussion with him, and there was a lady who used to be a doctor.
Oh, Jillian. Yes.
Yes.
And
they made it sound so interesting.
Oh, good.
And yeah, like, okay, why? I don't know about this, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you're missing out on something.
Yeah.
So, I've been trying to read up on it since then.
Okay.
And find out more.
Okay.
I realized I needed this.
Okay. Good.
My name is Justice.
Ranger. Yes.
Justice Ranger. And I am currently working at Delta Banking Trust
as
an operations administrator.
Okay.
I first got into cryptocurrency in 2021. Yeah, 2021. But I basically want to broaden my knowledge in the field itself because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos since 2021. Reading a lot online about it. All my coins got stolen last year because I kept my coins on the exchange and I ended up clicking on a phishing site and that was just a disaster. I feel as though it's time for me to get back in, so I would definitely like to learn how I can store my crypto safely. And not on the exchange right now, I'm using Exodus. I'm not sure if that's the most secure way. I've heard about cold storage wallets, but
there's hot storage and there's cold storage. We can talk about that, yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Tamara Lundy. I am a senior analyst at the Central Bank for Bahamas. I would say my reason for joining this class is definitely to broaden my perspective on cryptocurrency. I have a portfolio of licenses, which I am responsible for managing, and some of those are dealing in digital assets.
Digital assets, okay.
So just having that knowledge, it gives me more comfort in the way that I do my job. Okay. So it's important for me to know more about this. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically why I joined.
All right. All right, sounds good. I think we've got quite an interesting
novice.
Yeah. We've got quite an interesting range of expectations, and so we're gonna really have a good time exploring the world of crypto. So I want to start by talking about how crypto came about. Right? And let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. Let's go back to cavemen, right? So you have this caveman family who lives in cave A, right? And then you have this other caveman family that lives in cave B, right? So caveman A and his wife, they grow corn, right? Caveman B and his family, they grow potatoes, right? And so one day, caveman A's wife said, I am tired of eating corn. Child, I can't eat another roast corn. We need to do something, okay? And she said, well, why can't we get some potatoes from caveman B? right? So she goes over there, talks to Caveman B's wife, and Caveman B's wife say, yeah, I'm tired of eating potatoes too. Why don't we do an exchange, right? And so what you had there was the first exchange of assets, of property, the barter system. So let's go back to the barter system. You understand the barter system. So let's talk about barter, right? Laverne, you with me? You understand barter, right?
Yes, I'm with you. It was an interesting explanation you gave there.
So let's talk about barter. So barter is where it all started, right? I have a bottle of water, or I have a well, right? And you have corn, and we both need what the other person has. And so we do an exchange, right? And so over time, right, as the barter system begin to evolve and develop and grow, people realize that the value in which the value of the things that we exchange are not equal. And so we need to figure out a way in which how we can place a value on an item and then determine what we're going to use to, because I can't give you my corn because my corn is worth more. Think about it. Let's say I give you corn, right? You could make cornmeal, you could make grits, you could make, there's so many different byproducts from just raw corn, right? Whereas potatoes, for example, you may only be able to bake the potatoes or maybe cut them up and roast them, or mashed potato, or maybe potato bread, and then let's explore even further. So caveman A goes down to the river and he catches some fish, right? And so now caveman B's family, they want fish too. How do we place a value on fish versus potatoes, right? And vice versa. So as the barter system evolved, we started using precious metals as a way of exchange: gold, silver, and other precious metals, okay? And so there was an evolution, right, in the barter system. We then decided that one potato is worth one piece of gold, and one bag of corn is worth 10 pieces of gold, right? We begin to put a value on these things, and then we use gold as the way to measure the value of what we are exchanging, okay? And so that evolved, right? But I want us to keep something in the back of our mind, that as that system evolved, that created some deficiencies, right? That created some inefficiencies, right? That created some inequality, right? Because let's talk about the inequality. Not everybody had gold to be able to exchange, buy and sell, right? The inefficiency of it was that, where am I going to store this gold, right? I have a big sack of gold coins. Where I can put this, in my house, or, how am I going to secure it, right? And then there's also, how do we where do we go to what's the word I want? Where do we go to participate in this exchange, right? So over time, markets develop, like, food markets, right? So I go to the food market and I say, oh, you have celery, you have carrots, and I want celery and I want carrots. And then I go and I exchange. And so, and so over time, anyway, you get the point. There are efficiencies, there are inefficiencies in this system, but the system also creates what I like to describe as inequalities, because not everyone who participates in the system has gold. Some of us have more gold than others, right? Some of us have no gold at all. And so we can't participate in this exchange, in this economic activity, right? That's developing. Then as time goes on, we develop what we now refer to as fiat currency, right? Which initially was backed by gold, right? Gold was still the cornerstone of this fiat currency. So now what fiat currency did was it got rid of some of these, well, there was less of an issue in terms of storage, because you could put your fiat currency in your pocket, you could put it in your wallet, you could put it in your purse, you could put it under your bed. Correct, there's convenience. And there's very clear value. One note has $1, one note has $10, one note has 20, 50, et cetera, right? And so there's a very clear and distinct value on this fiat currency, right? And so we see the evolution of fiat currency in societies, right? We see the evolution of central banks, right? Because then central banks, each country decided that we want our own fiat, right? So we have B dollar, US dollar, euro, Singaporean dollars. What else? Just the British pound, the Hong Kong dollar, the Japanese yen. And so, every country has now developed its own fiat, right? And with those individual fiat currencies, there comes some deficiencies as well, right? Because not all fiat are equal, right? The B dollar, B dollar is so strong, and the B dollar is strong. When you compare the B dollar to every other dollar south of us, right? You go Cuba, the entire Caribbean, the B dollar is strong and resilient because it's backed by our US dollar reserves. We are fortunate because of our proximity to the US, and we have all this USD flowing, and so there, but there again, there are some deficiencies. There's some inequality, right? Not everyone has the same amount of fiat. Not everyone has the same amount of B dollars, right? And as there's more development of markets, right? We move from not just buying and selling food, but we moved from we moved now to buying and selling services. We then move, and we've developed now into capital markets. And these are the kinds we've then moved into being able to use fiat currency to buy property, which is enhancement of wealth, right? And not everyone is equal when it comes to having that fiat, right? Some people have more money than others. Some earn more money than others. Anyway, long story short, there's some deficiencies and there's some inequality, right? Then comes crypto, right? Digital currency, digital assets, right? And the whole idea behind crypto and the whole idea behind digital assets is to close this gap that fiat currency has created, right? Where only a select few people are allowed to participate in certain types of investments, in certain type of activity, because they have so much fiat, right? And so what the whole world of crypto and digital currency evolved around is financial inclusion. Have you all heard that expression before? You've heard that before. You're a central bank of financial inclusion, right? Financial inclusion, which allows everyone the ability to be able to participate in the financial markets or in the economy in any which way they choose, right? So what is cryptocurrency? It is a digital currency, and I'm reading this right from what you call the thing, Google. It's a digital currency in which transactions are verified and recorded, maintained by a decentralized system. So what crypto has done is we have created a secondary market that involves the movement, the free movement of money and funds and value. Let's keep that word in the back of our mind always, that we've allowed now this decentralized way of moving value from one person to the other outside of the regularized central bank network, right? Because that's really what fiat currency is, right? This is basically just a network of central banks who are controlling the value of the pound or the B dollar, and how we're going to how we're going to exchange that amongst each other, right? So a digital currency is a cryptocurrency rather is a digital currency in which transactions are verified and recorded and maintained by a decentralized system using cryptography rather than by a centralized authority. So we've taken the baton away from the authorities, the centralized authorities, central banks, because the central banks that really control fiat currency. And we've now created this decentralized environment where people can gain personal wealth that is beyond restriction and beyond confiscation. Right? Isn't that fascinating? Mm-hmm. And isn't it fascinating how that has evolved from the traditional barter system of exchange? And now, so now we are able to put a value on this asset, right? A bottle of water. And I say, I am prepared to pay 0.156 Bitcoin for this. And you say, okay, sure. We go on to the exchange. I send you 0.15, whatever Bitcoin. You receive it into your wallet. I get this, right? You follow the exchange. And there's no regulation. There's no central bank. There's no exchange control. There's no, what else? Some of the other regulations that we all have to deal with, right? There are no fee. I mean, there are fees, but they are minimal fees. You know what I mean? And you can do it. There's no middleman, right? So what the world of crypto has done is remove the middleman, and you and I can exchange however we wish, whenever we wish. Then, few to little restrictions. Any questions at this point? No questions for me? Hey, how was that introduction?
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
I'm almost able to understand.
You understand?
Yeah, and getting a better understanding of it already.
Yeah.
You had a better understanding, but crypto raises a lot from what we discussed just now. A lot of red flags.
Okay.
And another problem is the
anonymity
in terms of the persons being anonymous and not being able to track where the funds are coming from or going to, and
you can't track it.
But I think that is a misnomer. You can track.
It's just
but how do you regulate something that you don't have information to? If it's digital, it's different from how we would assess a bank, right? Because they not only have information contained in the digital form. They also have to keep that manually. But if everything is just digital assets, it's highly unlikely that they will have all of that information stored in their database. So regulation is a must. I don't know how they are going to do it, but it is a must, because then it kind of opens up the door for a lot of,
from a lot of
I'm telling you, money laundering, everything.
Really?
Yes, sir. So, you just have to.
It's the new drug trade.
Thank you.
That's all it is.
Terrorism.
And terrorism, right? Wow. Okay.
That's what I get from that.
That's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, as we said, crypto is an internet-based medium of exchange which uses cryptographical functions to conduct financial transactions, right? So, crypto, the foundation of this cryptography is leveraged using what we call blockchain technology, right? Which gives us this decentralized transparency, ability to move information. Ability to move, exchange these financial transactions freely, right? Again, the most important function about crypto is that it's not controlled by any central authority, right? No central bank, no regulator anywhere controls crypto, right? The decentralized nature of the blockchain makes cryptocurrencies theoretically immune to old ways of government. And that's why we have our central banker here who's saying that we need regulation.
Individual, we need to control the entity.
We need to control the entities, right?
I'm an internal audit, so I guess that's why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. And this country done been on the blacklist enough.
We've been on it with what's the people's name? We've been on the map, right? All the time.
So we can't afford for that to happen. So we have to take every necessary precautions to make sure that.
So again, one of the beauties of crypto is that it can be sent between these parties using private and public keys with very little fees, right? Just eliminating these fees that are charged by traditional financial institutions. I mean, let me say it this way. If your aunt in Atlanta wants to send you $200, right, by wire, you need to tell her, Auntie, you're gonna need to send $250. Because by the time they done deduct this and deduct that, I only can end up with 170 something, maybe even less,
And then when you can get it right away.
With crypto, instantly in your wallet, you can pick up your phone and say, it reached, right? Versus, I know someone, yes, you have to, I know someone who told me, well, I had an experience myself where I had to wait like up to a week for my account to be credited.
Yeah. And with money, literally, they have limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person sends you $700 and the limitation is 4, they tell you can't get that money.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's stop here for crypto and let's talk a little bit about financial inclusion. And I'm going to share with you a story that I always think about when I think about financial inclusion, right? So my mother is from Andros. And so I spent many summers in Andros as a boy and as a teenager. School would close on Friday, and Saturday, I on the plane or the boat going to Andros for the whole summer, right? Beautiful place. I love Andros. And so my grandparents, had a home there. And over time, as both of my grandparents eventually retired, right? They had a bank account because they were being paid, by their employer. Mm-hmm. They had a bank account with RBC, right? And about Well, my grandmother is past now 3 years. Let's say about 5 or 7 years ago, RBC announced that they were closing all of their branches in a number of family islands. And those closures included Andros. So my grandmother's account in Andros was transferred to a branch here in New Providence. Okay, so then my grandmother then had no access any longer to banking services. So the question was, how was she going to get money to buy cream? Or, we would send her wholesale grocery on the boat once a month. But, during the course of the month, you may run out of some sugar, or you might need some flour. My grandmother loved to bake. And so how would she be able to get cash? Because now fiat is the medium of exchange in the country to buy and sell goods, right? How is she going to get this fiat? If her account is in Nassau, there's no ATM in Andros. How is she going to get this fiat to be able to do these transactions, to buy and sell, to buy a couple of tins of cream or a pack of flour or 5 pounds of rice, right? So the closure of those branches left my grandmother at a disadvantage. What crypto is meant to do is to include everybody. So if we had a digital currency up and running in the Bahamas at the time when RBC closed its branches in Andros and Eleuthera and wherever else, my grandmother may not have necessarily been tech savvy, but you could teach her a couple of little things on the phone, and she could go with her phone, go to the supermarket, scan the beep, and walk out with her cream, her flour, and her sugar. She's not left behind because a financial institution has decided that it's no longer profitable for them to operate on an island where there's less than 100 customers. So there you go. So then there's the evolution of the sand dollar, which is a central bank digital currency, right? Unfortunately, my grandmother is not around to use the sand dollar. But I always think about that story because I think about how, wow, like here it is. She's,
handicapped.
Yes, she's at a disadvantage, right? And so, in order to get cash to her, sometimes my aunt would have to go to the mailboat, and if she ran across someone who was familiar, would give her, okay, this $200, give this to mommy, so that my grandmother could have some cash to be able to. So, and the irony of it is that my grandmother's pension was being paid to her RBC account that was now in Nassau.
So did she give her daughter access in Nassau?
So my grandmother had to come to Nassau, go to RBC on Bay Street down here, right? Sit in there, add my aunt as a signatory, and then my aunt then had the ATM card, and my aunt would then have to be back and forth withdrawing money and then going out to the boat, find somebody.
It created a lot of inconveniences
to give my grandmother this cash, right?
One of the major ones was time and the ability to meet immediate needs.
Yeah. So one of the advantages of cryptocurrencies / digital currency is financial inclusion, and financial inclusion in many different ways, right? It also, what it does is that it allows now, for example, what cryptocurrency and digital assets have done is it has allowed so many persons who traditionally would have not had access to the financial markets to now be able to go and buy stocks and bonds and participate in the financial market and generate wealth. I'm sure we have all. Laverne, do you know of anybody who said that they've made good money from crypto?
No, I don't know anyone personally.
Okay, but you've heard success stories.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I have heard success
Okay.
stories.
How about
It wasn't a success story.
how about you, Tanya? You
But it was because of your.
you know anybody who did well on crypto?
No.
Okay.
I know people who, like Laverne, who may have been.
Who've been on the other end?
Okay.
Do you mean Justice? Yeah, Justice. Yeah. This is Laverne. No, this is Laverne. Laverne is online.
Yes, yes.
So, all right. So, okay. So let's talk about how crypto has allowed. Well, no. Here's the reality. There are good and there are bad stories when it comes to crypto, right?
As with everything.
As with everything, right? I mean, there are people who have took their life savings and invested in the stock market. That stock may have plummeted and they lost everything, right? Overnight, right? And with crypto, there are bad actors. There are people who are gonna, steal. There are bad actors everywhere. You know what I mean? But I think if you were to really look at it, crypto has revolutionized wealth for a lot of people all over the world. Okay, you bought Bitcoin 5 years ago at X, right?
Yeah, and I know one thing, you can't buy Bitcoin now because
you could.
You could. Yes, but think about it. But think about it, right? And here's what I want to do. I want us to do a little quick analysis and comparison, right? So when you study finance, right, the first thing they tell you about finance is that finance deals with the capital markets, right? Let's talk about finance and capital markets. One of the first things that you learn in finance and capital markets is that investors invest in the capital market, right? Mainly, well, how do I want to say it? Investors generate wealth through the long-term share price appreciation of a particular asset that they've invested in, right? So you buy, let's say 25 years ago when Steve Jobs was nobody, right? You saw his vision, you believed in what he believed in, and you went and you bought, 50,000 shares of Apple, right? And it's now taken you 25 years, 30 years to really realize some good wealth from that 50,000 investment in Apple, right? Now let's go to Bitcoin, right? 5 years ago, you invested $3,000 in Bitcoin, right? And come forward now, 5 years later, you have quadrupled your money. It's literally overnight. Less than 5 years. You've literally quadrupled your money overnight. Overnight.
How does that happen though?
I am not speaking from experience.
Okay, but I guess for me, you want to know everything.
You want to know everything. How does that happen?
How did the appreciation happen?
Well, let's go back to some basic economics, right? Let's talk about supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
Okay, so what drives the price of anything up?
It's the demand.
That's it. That's all it is. That's simply all it is. So the demand for Bitcoin has driven or drove. Let me see if I can get the right tense, Laverne. It's caused the value of Bitcoin to increase astronomically because there is this demand. That's all it is, right? If I tell you that this iPhone is made of gold, right? I go on the internet and I put this on Instagram. I have a 14 karat gold iPhone, right? Who wants to buy it? And then I see comments coming on Instagram. I'll give you 20. Then someone else come. I'll give you 30. I'll give you 40. Huh? And before you know it, there's 10,000 people on there commenting. And before you know it, someone's prepared to pay me $250,000 for a gold iPhone, right? For some reason, they see some value in this asset, right? And they're prepared to pay X or Y to have it.
And I like that.
You with me, Laverne?
I use that because then it would be like,
yeah, I follow it.
Yeah, right. Because it's all about supply and demand.
Like art.
Yes,
everyone sees art differently, and you wonder why they would pay so much for a piece of art.
Yeah,
that you just look at like.
Yeah,
and then yeah,
and it's all about you know what?
All right.
It's all about what consumers deem to be a need or a want, really, because sometimes it's not even a need, it's a want. You know, I want that piece of painting right there that has one line go across, one come down, and one go over here. And for me, that is creme de la creme. Right? And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like, really? My 4-year-old niece could do better than this. You know, I'm good, you know, but they're prepared to pay X amount because they've placed a value. They've placed a value on that and they're prepared to pay for it. So when someone asks what creates this appreciation in value for cryptocurrencies, it is demand. Yeah. So, and as the demand increases, then Bitcoin now gotta go and mine some more Bitcoin, right? There are so many. I mean, if you go onto a digital exchange right now, there are a lot of digital assets out there. There are lots of them, right? Bitcoin just happens to be a popular one, you know.
Which was Bitcoin the first? Yeah, it was the first.
Yeah,
who
and so. Well, let's look and see who created it. Look here, look at my student. Look at Justice. I'm telling you. Let's see who created Bitcoin. Who created Bitcoin? Satoshi Nakamoto. He was born in 1975. He's actually a young guy.
But nobody, he disappeared, apparently.
He disappeared. He gone missing.
Nobody knows who he is.
There's a photo of him here. No, there's a photo of. Oh, no one knows who he is. Anyway, so he is. Well, this is apparently a pseudonym, right? He's the person who developed Bitcoin, authored the Bitcoin white paper, and created and deployed Bitcoin's original reference implementation. And his whole idea behind creating Bitcoin was that he had envisioned Bitcoin to be a token of transaction that would be widely adopted by the world to protect against inflation, which is what we all dealing with now. I keep hearing or seeing these memes about eggs. And let's talk about that because I don't get it. What's going on? The price of eggs is out of control. How about in TCI, Laverne? Are the price of eggs gone up?
It's way out of control. A crate of egg is, I think, over $12.
What?
Yeah, I haven't eaten egg in a couple months. Yeah, it's not a necessity right now.
Egg is not a necessity, right?
No.
Okay. This class is for an hour and a half, right? Yeah. Yes.
No, they say 69.
It's 6 to 8.
Yeah,
6 to 8.
But I'm not sure.
2 hours, but of course we can.
We'll wrap up at 7:30. I don't want to keep you all too late, but okay. But because we're just having a general intro and discussion. And it's 6:51, so and I know you may have families to go home to and stuff. So a carton of eggs is like $12.
It depends on the size you want. If you want a large size, I think it's over 12. If you want medium, it's over 8 or 9.
Wow. No potato salad, all kind of things you have to use eggs in.
Yeah. Egg is a delicacy now.
I know. And you know what? Here's the thing. I love boiled eggs. I love I can buy a carton of eggs and boil 12 hard-boiled eggs and crack them and put them in a Ziploc bag and have them in the fridge. And then I just open the fridge, open the Ziploc, and throw two in my mouth, and I go on to go do something, you know? For me, that's like a snack, you know? But
well, I know a person who is selling from my church that is they were selling like the organic eggs. For like $6.
But that's cheap.
I know.
That's not that bad.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
if I can buy eggs, I might as well buy the cage ones, which is better
yeah,
rather than the uncaged ones. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so back to crypto. So let's talk a little bit about. So crypto is, I like to describe it as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. You understand what that means when I say peer-to-peer, right? Yes, so Justice and I can do our transactions on our own. We don't need RBC to be involved. We don't need Scotia to be involved. We don't need the central bank to be involved. We don't need y'all. We don't need. What's the name of the regulatory authority in TCI, Laverne?
That's the Financial Services Commission.
We don't need the Financial Services Commission to be involved. Okay, we could transact in crypto and conduct our own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the beauty about crypto.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes, I love questions.
What is your recourse like when you lost Justice, when you lost your coins? Is there any recourse?
You mean how did I feel when I lost my
No.
So
Can you get it back?
No.
You had to report it. Were you able to?
I did try because when I normally would sell my coins on the exchange, and exchange is where you buy the coins, not where you're not supposed to keep the coins on the exchange. But
so you're negligent.
Right. So I kept my coins on the exchange. And actually what happened was I normally would do my crypto transactions on my phone. But this day I wanted to do a transaction for one of my coworkers, and the wallet address was completely long. So instead of me doing it on my phone, I just went to do it on the computer. And when I type in in Google CEX.com, which is the exchange, Google brings up all types of different stuff, So I just click on the first link that I saw, which was not the correct link.
Which was not your exchange.
Right, which was not my exchange, but it looked just like my exchange.
Bad actors.
Just like my exchange. So maybe it was WWP or
WWV.
Correct. CEX instead of www.cex.
Yeah.
So when I clicked on the link, everything looked pretty fine because I normally used to doing it on my phone, and I said, okay, the last time I just on my computer, it looked almost the same.
Right.
So when I put in my credentials, my password, and my email, I guess the hacker took my information, the same information that I put in, and he went on the actual exchange, exchanged all my coins into Bitcoin, and then send them to a wallet.
Wow.
Yeah, so CX, which is my exchange, told me that they can't trace this particular wallet address that the Bitcoin was sent to, so everything is just gone.
And here's the reality, right?
I learned a big lesson.
So there is no recourse.
There's no recourse because, and here's the reality. The hacker logged on as if he was Justice because he had our credentials. That's why it's so important to protect passwords without even knowing, Yeah.
I just have to be careful even with online banking. Because when I put in Commonwealth Bank, I see all these different things come up. So I identify it by a certain website, and then I go accordingly. But you have to be very careful.
Yeah, so I just started bookmarking all my everything. I just bookmark. Or looking up. I've learned a very important lesson.
Yeah, you gotta teach you to be more vigilant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your question was about
just the recourse.
Just about the recourse, yeah.
And I mean, I probably knew the answer, but I just wanted to know just in case.
Yeah.
Because if it's not regulated, it's decentralized environment.
Mm-hmm.
No middleman. So it's like pair to pair, like you
Correct.
say. There's really my word against your word, and then you have to find me to have my word.
And let us also remember that all cryptocurrency transactions are all internet based. That's the beauty of it. It's all on the internet. Okay, so there's you don't need to go to no bank, you don't need to go to no ATM machine, you don't need to go to central bank to get no exchange control permission, stand in no line to get no paper, no nothing signed, no form. It's all internet based.
Let's say that the difference between that and the central bank is there would be a recourse. I mean, in most cases, because you can have clients come to us and complain about the various commercial banks if they're having an issue.
Yes.
And then we dig into it and try and solve it.
And even times, I mean, I've had a situation where I had someone hack my RBC account, and RBC gave me the funds back like in record time, But I think they they knew that there was some integrity issues with this with the system. Yeah, and so they refunded me the money right away. Yeah. So what we're going to do is next week, this is a little bit of homework, right? Not really homework, but just, for reading. So next week, I want us to talk about how, because I think it's important to, and without getting too deep into the technology of crypto, but I think it's important for us to talk a little bit about how these miners, how they create coins and how they confirm transactions on the network. Because I think that's important, because we talked a little bit about, I think, Lundy, you talked about it not being traceable, right? And so I think
as far as the client is concerned, in terms of being able to identify that client, maybe the transaction is.
Oh, but you mean the anonymity of the client.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. Why you want to know my business?
I want to know who you get your money from.
Why you want to know my business, right?
And who you sending it to? You could be sending it to a terrorist to go blow up something.
And here's the thing: is that let me say this much. And believe it or not, people believe that in the crypto world there is no KYC. That's not true. That is not true. Okay, every crypto exchange knows exactly who every single client is on that exchange doing transactions. You have to go through a KYC process. You have to provide documentation, your passport, this, that, and the next. They know who their customers are. Trust me. Okay.
You have a guideline.
I saw the draft guidelines. Exciting times.
So between us and SEB.
Well, eventually this is going to become regulated, because I don't think the governments of the world are not going to want this, and the central banks, because even though these are with this, what I'm seeing and hearing now is that the haves are now being pushed out of the market in terms of exclusivity, because the have-nots only need the knowledge to go on and do it. So, regardless to how much you want that equality in the world, it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So people are going to develop ways to try and regularize
the playing field.
Yeah. Regularize this.
Oh, and create disparity again.
And barriers to entrance, or
that is most unfortunate.
No, but they want to be able to track, to know, the governments are going to want to know how these funds are being and who has funds.
Well, that's true. I mean, think about it, right? Let's see, and here's I'm going to give you a scenario, and Laverne, I'm sure you can relate to this too, right? So the cost of real estate in the Bahamas is astronomical, right? Crazy. Yes, right? And imagine if I didn't have to go to a commercial bank and get a loan to purchase a piece of property on Cable Beach, or a condo on Cable Beach, or multiple pieces of property on Cable Beach. I can take my wallet, right? And I can go to a real estate agent and say, I want that condo. How much? 1.5 million. Say, okay, how much is that in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, whoever, right? I ain't walk in Scotia yet.
So my question then.
Yes, I love questions.
Because you say you go in and you say, how much is that in Bitcoin? How is that calculated? Because we said it's the demand that drives it. So how do we now calculate the value of the Bitcoin?
So, and we're going to get into this a little bit more. So what happens is that as crypto evolved, right, we have what we call now stable coins, right? And so those coins are pegged to the dollar, okay? And so that gives us a level, correct. Okay. Because don't forget now, digital currency is digital transactions. So we convert that to, so we say that $1 is worth, $1 USD is worth 0. Bling, 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 Bitcoin. Okay? So then you know how much Bitcoin you have in your wallet, and then you simply do the math, right?
That information always available.
Oh yeah. You can find the rate of any cryptocurrency anywhere online. Yeah, anywhere. You could, oh yeah. So yeah, so the point is that I don't need to go to the middleman. I don't need to go to RBC. Well, even in the first instance, I don't need to go to RBC or Scotia to get a loan. I don't need to go through the loan process of qualifying for loan. You need to carry your land paper, your mummy marriage certificate, your birth certificate. Then you gotta go, not only that, interest, then don't forget the legal fees, the this, the that, the closing costs, this and that. But by the time they finish with you, Laverne, you ain't get no money.
Couple body parts, everything.
Exactly.
When you didn't pay them, no, that's the problem. When you didn't pay them all them.
So I have on this device X amount of Bitcoin that has a USD value.
So in essence, it's really the barter system that has evolved over.
It's now digital. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could even see the further evolution where you have the fiat money coming in, because now these stable coins,
because it's now pegged. It's pegged to the fiat, and that gives it the stability. That's why they call it stable coin, right? Because in the past, you've had digital currencies that were like boom, 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 boom. The value kept going up and down, crazy. Right. So now you have what they call stable coin that's pegged to the USD. And so now,
always the US dollar?
Yes. And so now there is always a medium point where you can make a determination. So I have X amount of Bitcoin on my phone that's valued 1.5 million USD. And if my real estate agent is prepared to take whatever that value is in Bitcoin, I log onto my phone, I put in my code. What's your wallet? Send. Give me my keys, please. Right? One day. One day, right, Laverne?
One day. I'm waiting for the day.
Sorry, Laverne.
I say I'm waiting for the day.
But isn't that beautiful, Tanya?
Yeah. I need to understand.
Justice, isn't that beautiful?
It's amazing.
You see it again?
Lundy.
Lundy, isn't that amazing? And why does Central Bank have to be in my business when I buy in? What the place name now? What building on Cable Beach? Aquilina? When I or number one Cable Beach? Or on PI? Why y'all have to be in my business? Yes. Yeah. And Scotia don't need to know. And guess what? And see, and here's the thing, right? I would have been able to afford to buy a $1.5 million condo in Bitcoin because I bought Bitcoin 5 years ago. I bought X amount of Bitcoin 5 years ago. And because of demand, the value is now has appreciated. I held on to it right here in my phone, in my hot wallet or cold wallet. We can talk about that in another class, hot versus cold storage. Right? And I just sit back and I watch the value increase. And now I could buy me a condo on Cable Beach and nobody has to know. No one in my business. I ain't got to sign nothing with nobody. Just give me the keys. I don't even have to pay. Well, I was gonna say I don't have to pay stamp tax and things like that, but okay, but still, right? I have significantly decreased my transaction costs.
You have.
Right? Financial inclusion, the creation of wealth, right? That's what this is about. So, central banker, I want you to open your mind.
Regulation.
And we're gonna talk about and one of the beauties about regulation is that regulation brings consumer protection into place, which I think is important, right? So justice needs to have some way of recourse in getting her tokens back because of what happened to her, right? So regulation.
It's gonna come.
Regulation.
If this is the way to the future, it's going to come. It's going to be
we already actually have a digital assets drafted.
Yeah, I know. So that's its own. You know, so it's gonna come.
Yeah.
So regulation with.
It would have been just like fiat money when you had your. Before you had to go through the trial and error and everything, the bank getting robbed, you getting robbed when you put your money just on the table, whatever, to understand. So as the equals,
but and even to your point, let's think about how even fiat, the whole world of fiat money has evolved. You now have what they call deposit insurance. You didn't have that 100 years ago. Right? So if someone went into the bank and robbed the bank and took all of the physical cash out of the bank, dog, eat your lunch. You know, when you present to the bank and say, okay, I want to withdraw, they tell you, we ain't got it. We get robbed. You know, now you have depositors insurance.
Per account.
Yeah.
250 per account.
No, per bank.
50,000 per account.
Per account.
50,000.
Yeah, per account.
Yes.
No, I'm not sure if it works that way.
Oh, I don't believe so.
Yeah, okay.
But the scary thing about that is that you only protected up to 50,000. That's nothing. What if you have millions?
But you know, thinking about what you have said and
yes.
what I've learned thus far.
Yes.
It may be an impetus for banks to reduce fees too. if they're going to have this competition, because eventually the brick and mortar will go away. I work in a bank and I want to know why y'all have to charge me to hold my money, the same money you all go into lend to someone. Then you all can tell me to withdraw over a certain amount. I have to pay handling fee. You all don't ask me for no handling when I giving you all my money. You understand? So all the fees, and then right now, the interest not being paid because everyone's so liquid.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be interesting.
So, you know, I mean, the reality is that digital currencies, digital assets, cryptocurrency is going to revolutionize banking.
And not about just
the traditional banking, the whole financial services system, right? Yeah. You know, we are gonna eventually at some point. I would like to let's talk about what are some other products that are available in the digital asset space, NFTs, right? So you have a piece of art that someone has placed a value on, and they are prepared. They're prepared to store or invest their digital assets in that piece of art and as value. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that and yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's this whole world of Web3, right? Where so yeah, read upon NFTs. Then there's this whole world of Web3 where there is, so you're playing a video game, right? And every time you pass a stage, you win, but now you're earning digital currency and storing it and banking. You know, in Nintendo, right? You win a life. So you keep going and you could keep playing, but now in the Web3 world, you are earning wealth because you've passed a stage, or you shoot one fella, or you're racking up digital currency. Huge. Huh? Pac-Man, that's right. Absolutely. Right? So you are in the Web3 world, you are, and there are young people that sit at home, you know, those big, you know, those chairs, but those gaming chairs, or like what you see in the movie theater, they sit at home in a gaming chair. They got their monitors all around, and all they do all day is game. They are gamers, and they are earning wealth by way of gaming because of crypto. Now, if that isn't revolutionary, and if that isn't life-changing, and if that isn't financial inclusion, right? Then I don't know what is, right? I wish I was a gamer. I ain't gotta go to work. I don't have to go to work. I can just sit home and play, you know. Yes. Yes. Order pizza.
You love that you would be doing it anyway. Yes. And making money at the same time.
Yes. I'm sorry, I just gotta.
That is so interesting.
Okay. So yeah, so what time is it now? 7:15. All right, so let's wind down. Are there any other questions based on what we've talked about today? No questions. All right.
A lot to
digest and read upon. So for next Wednesday, just don't get too deep into the technology, right? But let's talk a little bit about how the coins are created, the mining, okay? We can talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Let's talk about, maybe I'll come with a couple of slides, because what I want to do is I want to give you guys an idea of what coins are out there. There's a lot. Believe you me, there's a lot, okay? And so we can talk about that a little bit. And then, yeah, we can just explore that. Let's explore that, like the technology behind it, but I don't want to get too deep because I'm not a software engineer. You know what I mean? So I need to do some homework myself in terms of it. But let's talk about, and I want this class to be, I don't want this to be me talking. I want us to have, like we did today. I think we had a really good dialogue. We had really good we were very interactive. And, you know, so if you, over the next 7 days, before we reconvene next Wednesday, if you find something that you find interesting, bookmark it, link it, and come and let's talk about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so next week we're going to talk about,
Sorry, can I just make a comment with respect to the DIC?
Sure.
So earlier we was talking about it. It is 50,000, which you all know. They said that all eligible accounts maintained with different branches are aggregated and insured up to 50,000.
Oh.
For deposit insurance cannot be increased by depositing funds into several different accounts at different branches at the same bank.
So it's an aggregate of 50,000 amongst all of your accounts. Whoa.
Once it's at that same bank.
Oh. An aggregate. Oh, I understand. So it's an aggregate of your accounts at Scotia, and then another 50,000 aggregate at RBC. Okay, I understand now. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for looking that up, Lundy. That's good. And then I know on the syllabus, Miguel had on there Bitcoin, but we can talk a little bit more about Bitcoin, since Bitcoin is the catalyst. You know, we could talk about what Bitcoin, and then we can. I want us to explore some other coins. We're going to talk about FTX, right? Because that is an important part of the crypto landscape now. You know,
it's coming up on all. I did a webinar recently. Internet risk and stuff, and of course that was the big and the person right. Yeah, we had 3 presenters. One was from well, 2 were from the UK. Okay. One in the US. Of course, that was the big thing.
Yeah, and it's important to talk about it and understand what happened and what went wrong. But I think the lesson to learn from that is that, you know, there are bad actors everywhere, in every industry, in every environment, you know what I mean? And so I think that people always say to me, let me say it this way. I always say to people, if you don't understand crypto, don't invest.
Which is why it's that simple. My hesitancy, because I've been approached, people approach you, and I said to someone, but this sounds to me like there's a really complex pyramids, right? Because you have to bring people in and bring people in. Why? So, I wanted to know. I just need to understand.
It's like, you know what? If you don't understand, I mean, there are in the financial services arena, there are some very simple products and there are some complex products. So, for example, a very simple product is a life insurance. Okay, I walk into a life insurance and I say to them, I would like to insure my life on $1 million. I pay you X amount of premiums for the rest of my life. And when I die, my beneficiary gets $1 million. That's also, you hope, right? And that's a very simple financial product, a wealth management product where you can leave your spouse or your offspring in a better situation, right? You've left them with $1 million. You might have bills, but I mean, and that's a very simple product. Very easy to understand, right? There are some other products that are more complex, right? So, and I think also too, when you're looking and thinking about crypto, what is your risk appetite?
Oh, that's important.
Right? Are you risk averse?
Yes, I am.
So, for example, every time whenever I join a new company, whenever I join a new company, right, and they're signing up for the pension, the pension fund can invest in low risk.
And they ask you those
and they ask you those questions. And I say, man, put that in high risk, because when I leave here, when I'd invested, I want all my money. Yes, you know, and some of those investment schemes and those pensions are like 20-something% return. They're like really,
but that's of course, like you say, if you're willing to take the risk.
Correct.
And you're being paid for that risk.
Correct.
That's what it is.
Yes, you know. So with crypto, there's risks, and you've got to understand those risks and decide, you know what, if I take $10,000 right now and I invest in crypto and I lose it tomorrow, how is that going to leave me? What position is that going to leave me in? Right? Can I afford to lose 10 grand overnight and don't feel it?
That's the question.
I can eat that little thing. So yeah, you know.
People that get killed.
Yes. So so next week let's talk about mining, a little bit of technology, and then we'll talk about some of the coins that are out there. And then we'll talk a little bit more about stablecoin, because I want you to understand how that works.
I think that's the one thing I understand. That guy to the US dollar, and that gives me a value, and it's value.
Yes.
I understand that. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll talk about that stablecoin, and then different coins, and like what's some of, let's look at what are some of the popular coins, and then that should cover that, and then we'll figure out for the next class. This was fun, right, Laverne?
It sure was.
Okay.
Do we have other students?
There's supposed to be 13 persons registered for this class. But Miguel told me that he's gonna reach out to them to see, but he asked me to please stay and do the intro. So I said, I'll do the intro. Even those 4, let's do it. So
you did,
yeah,
because it's really interesting. Like I said, I know little to none, other than what you hear, and it's not always from a reliable
source. Yes,
they can speak to their experience, or an experience that they have heard about.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, when you watch and someone steals someone's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And they don't register.
Yeah. Did everyone sign in on the? Okay. Well, so yeah, and so like I said, let's keep this very, I don't want to be like, we're talking about cryptocurrency, so which is non-traditional. So let's keep this.
So let's be like crypto.
Let's keep the class like, really non-traditional. Like I don't need to be, standing around, you know what I mean? Let's keep it, very, very open dialogue. And I think everyone's on the email that Miguel sent, right?
Yes.
So if there's something that you come across during the course of the week that you think may be beneficial for what we're going to talk about next class, like mining or different coins, then just reply all and send the link, and everyone can take a look at it, and then we can talk about it at the next class. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. So, and let's, yeah, we can.
Are you going to create a group for this class?
WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
If you guys want. If you want. That helps, right? Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak with Miguel maybe tomorrow, or tomorrow's Thursday, right? So I'll give him until Friday or Monday at the latest to like contact the remainder of the class, and then we'll see who shows up next week, and then we could create, I think a WhatsApp group is a good idea, and then that way we can all have a nice medium where we could dialogue and bounce things as things happen. You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah. And I get a lot of articles related to crypto from work. So there's a lot of stuff that I can share with you all.
Will there be a test at the end, or are we just writing papers?
I don't want to do a test.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to do a test. No, I don't want to do a test. Right, Laverne? We don't want to do no test, right?
And I'm all the way in Turks and Caicos unless you all gonna sell a ticket for me to come to Nassau.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's we'll do a paper to do the assessment, but what I would like to do is that I want us to, over the next 6 weeks, let's think about that in the back of our mind, and we will develop the topic together, right? And then you all can then individually take your stab at the topic, right?
Okay.
So as we move along, let's just think about, what we think, would be, let's think about the topic, and then we can, do a paper. We need an exam for a crypto class, and I think that a paper puts you in a place where you can do some research and you learn more than just studying for exam. Who created Bitcoin? Sugar, No. All right. Exactly. So Laverne, next Wednesday. I'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, sorry, the internet cut out.
Oh, that's fine. So we'll see you next Wednesday. We're gonna wrap up here because it's it's 7:28. So next Wednesday, and like I said, I'll probably form a WhatsApp group early next week.
Okay.
And then if there's anything before that, just reply all to Miguel's email, and let's get, we could get some dialogue going.
Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you all learned something today. A start. And then we're gonna dive into it and really explore it. It's an interesting world. Yeah.
It sure is, yes.
Yes. Okay, Laverne, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, you too.
All right. Thank you.
Guys,
okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies.
Yeah. Ladies,
You gotta walk us through it.
Oh, I know, right? And that's why I don't want to be here too late too, because that oh, you down in between here. Oh, okay.
Well, no, he called me. He called you? The old man? He's old and he has sure. Yeah. I mean, like, no.